Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Bamsters News Weekend Roundup. It is September 9th, and I am your host, Draconis. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of old-school styled games, the DDoS attacks against the classic WoW servers, CubeWorld, some news on that game after about 6 years since their alpha, and my thoughts on the Ghost Recon Breakpoint Beta. Alright, first up is the 2D action platformer Furwind, and basically, taking a look at this, I saw a press release on it over the weekend. This very seriously gives me some old school 2D platformer feels. You're playing as like a little fox, you have different locations you travel to or around the world, but other than that, the actual gameplay itself is very much like old school 2D platformer. Graphics, I want to say, they're nothing like new. It's definitely like pixel graphic type stuff, but it's not like super old school pixel graphics either. If you enjoy 2D platformers, I'd say this is really going to scratch that old school itch that I don't know. We've been looking at some of the games that are coming out in October, and we'll have an upcoming games episode that'll be out later this month. And I'm sure we're probably going to have a few more of these on there. It seems like 2D platforming is making kind of a big push on its way back. So if you enjoy 2D platformers, Furwind is definitely one that I think you should check out. That is from Jandusoft, and this is going to be out on the Nintendo Switch for $40. Looks like they're scheduling that for the end of November. It looks like 25th of November 2019. Also on that old school track, if you're not into 2D platformers, but maybe you like the old school beat 'em ups, and by that I mean things like Double Dragon or like the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Battletoads. There's another game that's coming out that this one's from Megacat Studios. It's called Coffee Crisis Special Edition. Maybe you're just a barista wanting to live out your dreams of beating up anyone that I mean, I've heard some horror stories from some baristas, so this one is you play as a barista, and you're one of the only ones left on Earth with enough heavy metal in their veins to face an alien invasion. So you're running around, and you'll see people on the screen, there's aliens you're fighting and things like that. So again, this is another one of those old school styled games. The graphics are very old school too, and if you enjoyed the side-scrolling beat 'em ups, this one could be right up your alley as well. Moving on, the classic WoW servers were subject to DDoS attacks over the weekend, and you know what? I'm going to put it out there. Dick move, guys. It really is. I don't even play classic WoW. I didn't even load it up or check it out. Not really my thing, but I know that there's a lot of people that were super excited about that. And come on, man, for people who are hacking like this, like gamers are some of the people I would think you don't want to mess with. I would have thought a lot of times gamers would kind of want to have, or would be the most likely group outside of the hacking community itself to maybe have their backs in some things, or at least be sympathetic towards them. But you keep screwing with gamers, and they're not going to be sympathetic towards you much longer. But anyway, so there was some folks in the WoW community that believed that they tracked down the account, or at least an account, group name for some folks that were claiming credit for the attacks, as they posted, and about 20 or 30 minutes prior, they posted on an account on Twitter that they were going to start an attack, and then, like they said, people started having trouble connecting after that. Now, I'm seeing that, I think it was like Sunday, no, as of, Sunday morning, it looks like Blizzard was reporting that the outage had stabilized, the outage was over, things were back online, but still, like I said, dick move. And on that note, and so here's the thing. I think a lot of people forget when they do these things that there can be, and often is, a human cost to these kinds of things. And so I mentioned in the intro that there was going to be some info about CubeWorld, which was a game that was in alpha close to 6 years ago, and is finally going to be releasing in September, October of this year. Considering that we're at the beginning of September and they didn't list a specific date, I would say chances are it's probably closer to October, but you never know. Now, the thing about this game, the reason that it relates to the whole DDoS thing is that, you know, the developer themselves and so a blog post that they put out had said that when they first released the game back in 2013 on their own homepage, they were super enthusiastic. As a new developer would be, they were excited to get their game out to people. In fact, it even says it was a dream come true because they'd wanted to be a developer since they were a kid. Now, they got DDoSed as soon as they opened their shop. And he even follows it up and says, look, this might sound silly, but the event traumatized me and kind of broke something inside of me. You know, folks sitting behind the keyboard, I think a lot of times think that this stuff is funny or it'll make a name for them, but are you really considering the cost behind these things? Anyway, moving beyond that and jumping off that soapbox, CubeWorld is supposed to be coming out by October. I'll say by the end of October sometime this year. And if you don't know what this game is, definitely go check it out. We'll put links in the description. But then, you know, on top of that, just to give you kind of a little bit of a description of what the game looks like to me, is that this is kind of like Minecraft, but think of it as if Minecraft went from 8-bit to 16-bit, and then this time it has classes and a story to play through. So you'd be able to pick from, I think it's one of 3 or 4 different classes. There's a story you can play through. It has co-op, so you can play online with your friends. This game looks really cool, and it looks like it's going to have a bunch of things that I kind of wanted Minecraft to have too, because Minecraft is fun in and of itself, and I'm not dogging Minecraft in any way, but I definitely have for a long time wanted to see more than just the sandbox environment. I would have loved to have seen some story stuff to play through in the regular Minecraft game, not like the Telltale series or you know, the upcoming Diablo version that we're going to get. And don't get me wrong about that one, because I'm looking forward to playing that too. I think the Diablo version is going to be cool too. I just, my only disappointment with that when it was announced was that it wasn't going to be in the, you know, typical Minecraft mode. So, I guess, leading from one disappointment to another, I'm not entirely disappointed with the Breakpoint Beta. There are things about it that I did really enjoy and I like. There are some things that I found rather frustrating. And because, you know, they're saying that they're saying it's a beta. So much of the things that come out nowadays, I don't know how much of it really is a beta anymore with regards to these large AAA companies. It's more of a demo. But in this case, I think it kind of has been a beta because of some of the bugs and things like that we've run into. Now, it very much looks like and feels like a Ghost Recon game with regards to how similar it looks and feels to Wildlands. Vehicles felt a little squirrelier to me this time around, but I'm thinking that's probably due to, it seems like they've made a lot of different improvements in how the game works. So I'm guessing it's just a matter of me needing to get, you know, used to how the vehicles are working here versus, you know, it's been quite a while since I played Wildlands anyway. The movement and the character definitely needs to be tightened up. I don't know what's going on with that right now, but there were several times when I would be standing near or right next to a doorway and I could not walk through the doorway. Every time I tried to walk through the doorway, he would run past the doorway to the other side and then run into the wall. And, you know, on that note, one of the other things I found when I'd be walking around on platforms is I'd let go of the movement keys and he would still run another 3 or 4, I say he because I was playing, you know, a male character, but he would still run 3 or 4 steps past that and end up falling off the ledge. So not cool. The movement definitely needs to be tightened up on there. They've introduced stamina into the game, and I say introduced because I really don't remember stamina being part of Wildlands. But oh man, I am not digging that. I don't dig the way it works at all. I'm not a fan of stamina in games. I know that it can, you know, add fun to certain things. Or I should say maybe a level of tactics to things, but I really don't care for it in this game. And one of the ways that it works that doesn't make any sense to me is when you're sliding down a hill, you seem to lose stamina even faster. So, yeah, nah, not digging that. And then, you know, if you use the stamina too much, going over the meter, then your meter starts to decrease with how much stamina you can have as max. and then you have to drink water or go rest to get your stamina back, the bar all the way back. I could really do without that entirely. Speaking of which, you're supposed to be able to go and fill up your canteen in different water sources. I couldn't do that at all in the beta when I was playing it. Don't know if I just ran into a bug or maybe there's specific water sources. And no, my canteen wasn't full because as I sat there in the water, I even drank from the canteen to make sure that of the 3 uses I would have, there was only one left. Left the water, came back in, still couldn't do it. So there are some bugs. I've seen reports of different visual glitches. I don't remember having any visual glitches. Visually, it looked really good. There were different things about the game that looked pretty amazing as far as, how your character, the way your character looks or the vehicles look based on different types of terrain that you're driving through, like snow and stuff like that. The roads themselves even looked like they had kind of been plowed either by a snowplow or just constant traffic. So that was really cool. Back to the survival stuff, there's some crafting involved as well. There are different types of single-use items that will give you different types of boosts and things like that you can craft along the way. I've never been a big fan of crafting or temporary boost things. It doesn't bother me if they're in the game, especially, since I don't do too much of the PvP stuff anyway. But it's just not something that I care to do because it's another thing to keep track of, and I'm just too forgetful for that, if I'm being honest. The game itself seems to kind of gone in a little bit of an RPG turn, so like a survival RPG turn in a way. It's not super heavy on the survival mechanics, but it feels like it's kind of started to make a little bit of a detour that direction. Your weapons and your gear now have stats, but I will say this, at least if you want your character to look a specific way, they've added an option in there for you to go in, and you can make your character look, the way that you want, while still equipping different things that won't affect the way your character looks. So that at least is I think kind of cool. But beyond that, yeah, it's still a little buggy. It is a quote-unquote beta. And at this point, we still have a month until release, which I'm sure we're not even getting the latest version that they're working off of. I would suggest with this one, don't pre-order. Wait until reviews come out from people who played the game and can give you a very solid comparison between Wildlands and Breakpoint, and then make your decision. Because I think that there's enough of differences in how this game works that depending on your particular mileage and how you either like or dislike certain things, that could make or break your interest in this game. I'm not saying it's a bad game by any means, just that they've made some changes that might not make it as fun for some people, and that might make it even more interesting for others. So on that note, I'm going to close out the weekend roundup, and you guys have a good one. We will catch you later in the week. See, Wednesday we have a regular episode coming up. That'll be with a developer from Main Assembly. We get to talk to him about, they've got a cute little game about building up different vehicles and the different physics that are involved, materials, and it's all the programming and stuff that you can do. It's a really neat looking game, so stay tuned for that on Wednesday.